When I watch you, it doesn't sound like other fighters. When you hit guys, it sounds like you're hitting a bag, there's a thud. When you sink it in there, do you know?
Yeah, I know. Your body don't lie. You know, it's just certain little things, like they might breathe a little bit different, they might, you know, inhale heavily, or, you know, the body might dip down. You hit somebody a body shot and they kind of drop a little bit, or their posture changes, or their hands are no longer, you know, up, it's down by where their body is. It takes a lot out of it. It takes your legs, your wind, everything. So it's hard to recover.
Takes your heart.
Take your heart to it. It's hard to recover from a body shot.
Do you remember the moment where you first really, really hit a guy? Where you understood, oh wow, I can hit?
It was the silver gloves. I hit a guy and knocked him out. And he was saying that he couldn't move his legs. And I was like, man, you know, I can crack.
You start to really smile with that recollection of the silver gloves. Like, you know, you don't talk loud, you don't boast, you don't, but I can see you come alive when you talk about knocking that guy out. What'd you hit him with?
Hit him with a straight left. I mean, who doesn't love knockouts? That's the, you know, the ultimate way to win in boxing, is knockout.
Did he tell you he couldn't move his legs?
No, he was yelling it out to the, he was yelling it out to the.
Look at you trying not to laugh. He's trying not to laugh.
He was yelling it out to the referee in the dock, so I kind of heard him from across the ring.
And then you knew you were big and bad, huh?
Not big and bad, but I knew I accomplished something.
That feeling you get, though, when you hit someone well, when you knock them down, when you knock them out, it's addictive, is it not?
Definitely, you know, it's definitely addictive. Even when I first turned professional, I was disappointed in my first fight that went the distance, and I think a lot of reason was I was rushing it.
You've been the most talked about talent in boxing for a good while. Why is that?
I think it's just the way I fight.
Knocking people out.
Knocking people out, and I'm in the ring, I'm passive aggressive. You know,
That's one way to put it.
I'm a boxer puncher. You know, I don't come at people reckless. You know, I take my time, I break my opponent down, and you know, I am the sweet science. That's what I do in there. I use angles, I box, I find people weaknesses and expose it. And
New leak video, Errol Spence training and doing conditioning, preparing for his comeback after a 3-year layoff against former WBO junior middleweight champion, Australian superstar Tim Tszyu. Errol Spence looks revamped. Errol Spence looks fresh. Errol Spence looks healthy. Errol Spence looks hungry. Errol Spence says, how is a shrimp gonna tell a shark his limitations? Errol Spence is going to stop Tim Tszyu between 9 and 11 rounds. What y'all think? Let me know.
Errol Spence is finally getting ready to return to boxing after being away from the sport for 3 years. That is a very long break in a sport where things move fast. Many fighters are forgotten after being inactive for so long, but Spence is a different story. The last few years have been very difficult for the former champion, who entertained boxing fans for more than a decade. Spence had the talent to become one of the greatest fighters of his era alongside Terence Crawford, but injuries and problems outside the ring slowed his career down. Even so, fans continued to support him. Now, 3 years after his tough loss to Terence "Bud" Crawford, Spence is back in the gym preparing for a fight against Tim Tszyu, which is expected to take place in Australia this July. It is great to see Errol Spence back in training again. The 36-year-old former unified welterweight champion is working closely with experienced trainer Ronnie Shields. Recently, Shields spoke openly about what Spence must do if he wants to become a world champion once again. According to Shields, Spence was one of the most avoided fighters in boxing before losing to Terence Crawford. He still believes Spence is a special fighter and says the biggest challenge will be getting rid of the ring rust after such a long layoff. Shields is confident that Spence can make a strong comeback and compete for world titles again as he begins a new chapter in a higher weight division.
Here with trainer extraordinaire Ronnie Shields. Ronnie, we're here to talk about the Spence Tszyu fight. It's going to be a big fight. Spence coming back. Tszyu's trying to make his comeback after those defeats from Fundora and everything. What do either have to do to come out victorious and not just become crossroad challengers from this point on?
I mean, I don't know what Tszyu has to do, but and I don't care what Tszyu has to do because I'm with Spence. So.
I know.
But I think for Errol, Errol just had to be Errol. You got to get back to what got him to where he's supposed to be. Errol, he has one defeat, and that's against Terence Crawford. But before then, people were avoiding him like the plague, because he's just that good. So I think he just got to get himself back into shape and get himself positioned to where he can do things that he did before.
What have you seen from Errol on his way to this fight and coming back against Tim Tszyu?
Well, just being in the gym with him, we was in the gym for like 3-4 days together, and everything's looking good. He's feeling good, and he's trying to just recapture.
He's not that type of guy.
Is that why you put 10 grand on?
Except that, yeah, I heard about that. But he's just backing Errol, man. He shared the ring with him, so it sort of makes sense. But the last time Errol Spence did that with Tony Harrison, it didn't work out too well for him.
I saw you say you've been watching Crawford's fight with Spence as well.
Yeah.
Any particular reason? Are you sort of prepping for things to come, or what's your thoughts?
Yeah, to a certain extent, but just the front hand. And how he just strategically beat him down was just interesting. How he stopped his relentlessness and was able to use his angles. It was just interesting to watch.
George didn't give us any confirmation up there about whether that was next.
Yeah.
Can you shed any light?
Well, I'm keen. I'm sure both parties are keen. So, look, we've got this guy in front of us.
Spence says he doesn't take tune-up fights.
Yeah.
You're taking what many would perceive to be a tune-up fight. What are your thoughts on that sort of thing? Why are you so active?
He should probably take a tune-up before me, just so that he's a little bit more, conditioned. I think he's in for a bit of a shock if it happens.
Did you see the footage of him on the pads?
Nah, he looks fat, yeah.